Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and I want to talk about some basic introductory human relations concepts for you to kind of lay down the groundwork. So, in this course, it has the philosophy that says every single individual makes a positive or negative difference. And it really is the leaders that help guide people to success. And I put before you that any problem in any organization really happens because of something a leader has done or has failed to do. And that's kind of the nature of leadership. So when people are doing the right things, then the organization is healthy. And everybody needs to be empowered to do the right thing. So essentially, when you look at organizational behavior, and that's what the study of human relations is, it's about people really all doing the right thing in all the different areas of an organization. Of course, this theory applies to our own personal relationships too. In the relationships that I have as a spouse, a boyfriend, a significant other, a son, a daughter, a niece, nephew, whatever my role is, when things are not going right in my world, it probably can be tracked back to me not doing the right thing. And, a lot of people like to blame other people. You've heard how can I be successful when I'm surrounded by turkeys, or whatever term you want to use. And, well, the fact of the matter is we can only take responsibility for our own actions. And so, like, when someone on a team isn't doing the right thing, it really is up to a leader to make sure that they've got the right person doing the job with the right training, and then they're being inspired and motivated and given the right vision to help get them to success. And so when people fail, members of a team fail, that really is the leader's fault. And so you really have to take a look at organizations on three basic levels. Individual level, right at the very bottom. Usually those are the people who are doing the actual work. And then the group level. We all interact with each other and we affect each other in teams, or in districts, or in divisions, or in stores, whatever that group looks like, or in a class. And then on the organizational level, the big picture, we all need to be doing our own parts. And I like to think of organizations like the human body. And when a human body is healthy, all the cells and organs are all doing what they're supposed to be doing. They've got the right signals, they all know what they need to do, and they're all set up for success. But really, it just takes one person to mess up the outcomes or the reputation or success, however you want to put it, of a team. And so I just want to plant that seed in your brain. 95% of the time, most managers are spending their time dealing with people-related issues. And that's why really understanding the science of human relations truly matters. If you talk to historians about success, one of the top 5 most successful people in history is a person named Sir Isaac Newton. And maybe you've heard this before. And when he was being knighted, he said, the king said, "You are one of the most amazing people," or something to this effect, of anyone that's ever lived. And Sir Isaac Newton humbly said, "Your Highness, I simply had the privilege of standing on the shoulders of giants." And so, really, in this journey of life, we really need to be cognizant of the fact that we can learn things by taking a step back and reflecting on what other people are doing, really listening to the wisdom of other people and experiences of other people. And when we are not listening to others, that usually is when the conflict starts taking place. So I encourage you to really recognize that intent and impact truly makes a difference. And that our actions may be innocent, but the impact they have on other people, that is what may cause damage. When I was 18 years old, I was working in a grocery store. I was excited to get promoted to become a grocery store checker. And when I got really good, I would type in the prices and be able to say, "Hi, how are you doing?" and have a conversation with my customer that was going through my check stand line. And I had a lady that came up and she had a big cart full of groceries, and I was carrying on a nice conversation. "Hi, how are you?" And I'd punch in a price, $4.49. "Sure is a beautiful day outside. Are you doing anything fun?" $2.29. So I had to call out the prices and still have this conversation with my customer. And then I looked over at her and I said, "Hey, when is your baby due?" And she looked at me, and you could see the fire in her face, and she said, "I am not pregnant." And she pushed her shopping cart out of the way and stormed out of the store. And I never saw her again. And because of me not being thoughtful, I lost the company that I worked for, a customer that day. I never saw her again in the years that I worked at that store. And I felt really bad. My intent was simply to have a nice conversation with her. But in my innocence, I didn't realize that she wasn't pregnant. She just carried her body weight in a different way. And so I felt bad. And I can't undo my past, but it's made me very cognizant of the fact that I need to be careful in what I say to people and really think before I talk. And some things are acceptable to say and some things aren't. So when I was getting older, I had a boss that called me stupid all the time. And that made me feel very incompetent. And so that actually ended up motivating me to go on and get an education. But her intent was to get power by scaring me into doing, exactly what she said, how she said it. And so she really micromanaged people. And although it helped me do things her way better, which was her intent, it had an effect on me emotionally that it took me years to overcome. So we need to recognize as individuals that there's something called a systems effect. All people in an organization are affected by at least one other person, and that person will affect the whole group. And so that, again, is called systems effect. So be very, very cognizant of the way that you're being in your everyday actions. Really have to think about what the people on your team need from you, what's important to them, and making sure that you're not just doing your own thing without thinking about how it impacts other people. And so that's systems effect. And the same thing with leaders. The boss that called me stupid, her intent was probably not to harm me. Her intent was to get me to do things her way. But that had an effect on me, and as a consequence, it made me not like her very much, and it made me talk badly about her, and it kind of jeopardized my job, because taking responsibility for my own actions, I wasn't being a very good employee by acting in poor character, even though I could justify, well, she was treating me badly first. So the same thing happens with personal relationships too. People fall in love, and things seem to be going fine, and then there's a misunderstanding because someone has a winning formula that makes them do something one way or another. But in the longer run, if the person is not careful in how they handle events, feelings get hurt, expectations aren't met, and people don't talk about things, and that causes damage in relationships, both in the workplace and in the home life. So we really need to be very cognizant of the fact that we have the power to affect other people. That's human relations. One of the best books out there in all time, and it was written in the 1930s by Dale Carnegie, was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And one of the things that really impacted me in that book is Mr. Carnegie says that we really need to be like a puppy dog. We can change people's behavior by changing our reactions to them. So the cool thing about a puppy dog is you may come home from work and you're tired and you've had a long day, and when you open the door, the dog doesn't come up to you and say, "Where the heck have you been? I'm hungry." No, the dog runs up to you and jumps all over you and says, "Hi, how are you? I missed you. Can I lick your face? Oh, you're my favorite person. Thank you for being back." And I'm not saying that you need to be exaggerated like a puppy. But we do need to always be loving and caring to the people that are around to us, and recognize that our actions influence other people. So be kind to people. Genuinely show interest in other people. That's a wonderful lesson in human relations. So we've really been studying, management and human relations since the late 1800s. And we've found that, you can't treat people like machines. You have to really recognize that people are all soft on the inside, and their bodies need physical breaks. Their emotions need to be considered, and feelings, and the organizations that really are the most successful are the ones that really empower people to give their very best. That's providing the right resources, putting the right people in the right jobs, making sure they're trained properly, and then just like a human body, that you're nourishing them properly with what they need to be healthy and happy. So what's really interesting is that a Hawthorne study done in the late 1920s, early 30s, by Elton Mayo, they really found that short-term improvement comes when you observe the performance of a worker. And it kind of makes sense. If you had your boss looking over your back, you're probably not going to slow down or do things worse. You're probably going to make sure you're doing the right things for the right reasons. But in the Hawthorne studies, they tested people by dimming the lights and making the room warmer or colder, and what they really found was that just by observing people, they continued to maintain and maybe even increase their performance. So, and in the workplace, that really translates to make sure that if you're a supervisor responsible for working with other people, that you're there and you're approachable and that you can be seen. So in human relations, we really need to focus on interpersonal skills. And interpersonal skills means between people. And this includes our personality, our attitudes, our self-concept, acting with integrity. It's really about self-management. I can't control you, but I can control myself. And me really working on being the best person that I can be in my relationship with you, recognizing who I am, recognizing my strengths, recognizing that a positive attitude is going to have a better influence on other people than a negative attitude. And so we get better results when I'm doing the right thing with how I behave. And that means I need to recognize my own value and love myself for who I am, and recognize my strengths and own my own weaknesses. But it means I also need to make sure that I'm giving my best to every person that I interact with, or I become the weak link. And I don't want to be the weak link. I want to be a productive member of my team, no matter whether or not I'm the leader or just another colleague. And not just another colleague means a little person. That means we all are important. The Carnegie Foundation did research and found out that 85% of the factors contributing to job success really is related to our personal abilities. So you create your own successes and failures, and it really is about these soft skills, these interpersonal skills, these human relation skills that we're talking about. Fact of the matter is that Harvard found that 66% of all people that were fired because they couldn't get along with people. The fact of the matter is most organizations will protect people that get along really well with other people, that help make the teams more productive. So that's your job as a leader, and that's your job as an employee at whatever level that you are, is you need to find ways to work really hard at getting along with other people. And so I'm going to leave you with these very simple guidelines for success. So here they are. These are the 10 guidelines for human relations. Number 1, be optimistic. You got to believe that there are good things coming, and you need to act that way. You have to be positive. So always, you are the only one that gets to manage your attitude. So if you're feeling a negative attitude, you're probably going to get negative results with other people. You're probably harming other people in some way. So stay positive. We all have the ability to affect other people. Number 3, you need to be genuinely interested in other people. That means really recognizing that if we are interested in other people, we're probably going to get something out of that relationship. We're going to learn something about it. I have a PhD, but every time I interact with another human being, I learn something about myself or about them or about something in this world. And it makes me a better person, but it all has to start with being optimistic, positive, and having a genuine interest in other people. Smiling and developing a sense of humor are really a couple of key attributes to human success. It's universal. So smile at people. Learn to say things that are funny at the right time. Don't demean people, of course, or make fun of other people. Or don't even demean yourself, but try to have a good sense of humor. Not everything is going to go right all the time, but learn to take a step back and learn the lessons that are in there and be optimistic about what happened, and then laugh about it, because you can't ever have a better past, right? Call people by name is really, really important. Everybody's name is important, and you've got to that means really learning people's names, finding characteristics about them that might remind you of someone else with that same name. That will help you get to learn their name. Some people say their name, other person's name, is the most beautiful thing that another person hears. So really learn people's names and call people by name over and over again. Listening is the most important interpersonal skill there really is, because really having a mutual understanding, an understanding from the other person's perspective really is key to being able to take the right actions. If I had really taken time to understand people before I spoke, I probably wouldn't have hurt people's feelings so much. I need to ask the right questions the right way, and then really listen to what they're saying, and not thinking about things through my own filters, but really listening from their perspective to understand. Helping others. That's a characteristic that will take you far. Really learn to help other people's whenever you can. In the longer run, they'll come back and help you when you need help, or they may help other people because you've demonstrated how to pay it forward by helping them. Thinking before you act is really important. Too many times we react when things happen, but if we want to make the best choices, it's not necessarily what happens to us that matters. It's what we do with what happens that truly matters. So really thinking about long-term, big picture things, who's involved before we act, really can make that better difference in our own lives. And apologize is number 9. We'll all make mistakes sometimes. These are opportunities to learn from them. But the best thing that we can do when we do something that harms other people is sincerely apologize. Hi, John. I'm sorry that I did this specific thing. I made a mistake and I'm very sorry for that. I'll do my best not to do that again. Will you please forgive me? You've got to let the other person have the choice. And most people want to be forgiven too. So life is too short to hold grudges. But take the first step when you make a mistake, own it, and then apologize. And then create win-win situations. And so win-win situations have got to be a win for the other person and a win for you. And of course, I'll talk about that too. So here are the 10 guidelines for human relations. 1, be optimistic. 2, be positive. 3, be genuinely interested in other people. 4, smile and develop a sense of humor. 5, call people by name. 6, listen to people. 7, help other people. 8, think before you act. 9, apologize. And 10, create win-win solutions. So there you go. Learning about human relations, as we do in academia, is we study situations and take a look at why things happen and try to come up with models or formulas that can help create future successes from those. So you have to remember that when there are human relations problems, you've really got 3 choices. You can change the other person, which is nearly impossible. You can inspire people to make a change, but it's hard to change other people. You can change the situation. Fine. I don't like what happened. I'm taking my ball and I'm walking home. You can change the situation. I don't like my boss, so I'll quit my job. Maybe your boss would do better if you were more supportive. So, you can change the other person, you can change the situation, or you can really do the easiest thing is take a look at yourself and choose to change yourself. Nobody can change you unless you choose to make the changes yourself. When you're recognizing that someone seems to get irritated at you for doing different things, take a step back and take a look at what is there for you to own. All right, I know that I've given you a lot. I look forward to working with you. I'm Dr. Paul Gerhardt. I hope you have a great day because only you get to choose how you feel about it.